35 anti-oil protesters have been arrested after gluing themselves to forecourts, smashing petrol pumps and climbing on top of lorries in an attempt to call the government's attention to climate change. Campaigners stopped drivers from getting fuel and caused thousands of pounds worth of damage, according to service station staff on the M25. The Just Stop Oil group, though, say it's the only way to get the government to act for their futures. Antoine Allen reports.
2 service stations under climate attack. Around 7 a.m, Just Stop Oil campaigners simultaneously brought their fossil fuel protest to the forecourts, smashing petrol pumps at Clackett Lane and Cobham services on the M25. By the time the police had arrived, the protesters were glued in, ready for their standoff.
The more people we can get on board, the more effective our disruption and civil resistance will be, and we'll have to force the government to actually take action.
Just Stop Oil want the government to end new oil and gas projects in the UK. Before the government responded, drivers had their say about the disruption.
I'm out of diesel nearly, and you are being absolutely stupid.
There's people that need to get to work. This is just causing massive hassle.
We do have a massive reliance on oil, don't we, which isn't great, but there's other ways of going about it.
Any other day, Ben would be in his university, but today his passion brought him to the top of a lorry.
It's really hard because obviously there is a lot of disruption. I get a lot of abuse because people are feeling frustrated.
This isn't the first protest by Just Stop Oil. It's not the first time you've stopped people using petrol stations either. So what will you do if the government doesn't listen?
Yeah, that's a really tough question. I mean, it's just so devastating that the government isn't listening. It seems so obvious.
Earlier in the year, Just Stop Oil brought their protest to the football pitches. Under the floodlights, Louis' demands had the attention of tens of thousands of people. This morning, Cobham services had minimal crowds. Louis, I saw you at Everton chaining yourself to the post. Now you're here doing this. Do you think the government are listening to all of your protests?
Well, we're not giving them a choice, you know, either they listen or we keep going. They can end this at any point. All they need to do is stop new fossil fuel licensing and we'll leave.
And what next if this doesn't work?
What next? Whatever's necessary, you know. I've already gone to prison for this once, I'll do it again.
When I spoke to the protesters earlier, they were surprised it had taken the police this long to start removing them. But as you can see, one by one, they are being taken away. But the damage they've done here at this forecourt in Cobham will remain for a while now, simply because only one of these pumps is still active. Once Louis' hands were free, they were soon on their way to be in handcuffs. In total, 35 protesters were arrested. The police's response was more careful than swift, but they were thanked by Justice Secretary Dominic Raab, who stated we will not allow militants to sabotage people's lives. Antoine Allen, ITV News.